Hi everyone, this video is all about how to grow beautiful, healthy roses just like this one. And I'm not a rose expert, but these are my tips on how I grow mine in my garden. So first thing is, they need full sun. All of my roses get at least 6 to 7 hours of full direct sun every single day. My back garden faces east, so they get sun from the morning all the way until about 3 o'clock when that sun goes over my home in the summertime. But even in winter, they do get at least 6 hours of full sun. So I'm just going through here and showing you all of them. This one's starting to go into the shade. It is later afternoon, but you can see they're very, very happy getting lots of sun. And as long as you give them those deep waterings every time they're fully dry, they will be perfectly fine in that full sun. And again, you want to water them very deep when they're fully dry, or they will start to yellow. This is another one of my roses. This one wasn't doing too good, and I'm trying to bring it back so you could see it is flowering. It's just a little leggy, but with some trimming and some time and fertilizing, this rose will be absolutely bushy and gorgeous as well. Again, full sun, deep waterings when the soil is dry. They do not like to sit in water. None of my roses really have a saucer under them either. All right, so first, I use this all-purpose rose plant food. Of course, depending on what roses you're growing, it might be a little bit more specific. You could use an all-purpose Miracle-Gro, a liquid Miracle-Gro. This is a nice little granule. I like this one. You just mix it in with the soil. Roses love a lot of nutrients, compost, potassium, minerals. They really like a healthy, nutrient-dense soil. So here I'm just breaking up my soil, and it has been raining in my garden for like a week straight. So usually I would water in this fertilizer, but this time I'm just going to work it in. You'll see I take about 2 tablespoons for this size pot. I go ahead, sprinkle it in, and then I'm going to work it in a little bit, just so that when it does rain again, or if you were to deeply water this, that fertilizer isn't just sitting on top, but it is worked in just a little bit. This will make it easier for the plant to start to absorb. I'm not gonna water this in because I've been getting so much rain. I'm just gonna let the rain do that. And you can see my soil is moist here, which is nice. The fertilizer will start working right away. My biggest tip is going to be pruning your roses. This is going to keep them from getting super leggy. This is going to keep them very happy and always producing new, strong growth. I'm just going through this rose here and showing you it's so happy right now. It's blooming a lot. And this is a time when it's really, really important to go ahead and deadhead any of the spent blooms. This way your rose can send more energy to new shoots and healthy flowers just like this one. I'm gonna try to explain my method as best as possible. I've learned this in one of my rose books and it seems to work really good for me. So 2 types of pruning. One, I'm always gonna prune before that rose falls apart, and I'm gonna go to the first set of fresh, healthy leaves, or leaflet. So you could see this one is far gone. And I am gonna go to the first set of 5 or 6 healthy leaves. So you can see not the first one, not the second one, but the third leaflet, little branch of leaves, has 6 healthy leaves where my index finger is. I'm gonna cut right before that healthy leaflet that my hand is on. And if you look closely, you can see a tiny little bud between where that branch is out and the stem. And I'm gonna cut right there. And again, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to show you this as best as I can. So right before that healthy leaflet, I'm gonna cut right there. If you just cut the flower off, you're gonna not get that nice bushy rose. It's gonna be very leggy, and I don't think your rose will grow as nicely. So now I'm sending all that energy to that little bud that I'm showing you here. That will grow into a whole new branch of leaves and of course new flowers. And that also sends more energy to the shoot that's farther back with the red growth on it. And you'll see this flower is my second example of my rule of pruning, and that is sometimes I will skip that first healthy leaflet and go even farther back. If it's getting really leggy like it is here, that nice healthy leaflet that my hand is on was where I would usually prune it, right where my thumb is. But since this is very long and has some unhealthy parts closer to the main of the bush, I'm gonna go down and trim it even farther down. And in this case, I would look for my next healthy shoot or my next healthy new growth, which is right there, that red growth to the right of the screen. And right where my hand is where I'm gonna go ahead and chop it. That's gonna let that red new growth right here really, really do well, branch out, be healthy, and produce new flowers. I'm so sorry if this is not making any sense. I will try to explain it in the description below. And again, the two rules is just trimming either right to the next new leaflet of healthy leaves that either has 5 or 6 leaves on it, or if it's really leggy, I trim all the way back till I see a new bud or some new growth. So you can see here, I'm just going ahead and trimming. And it's always best to trim your flowers before they really just die completely, because this is your plant's gonna keeping that flowers alive as long as it can. And if you trim it, it lets your rose send more nutrients and more energy to other parts of the flowers and branches. I hope this makes a little sense. You'll see I'm just going through, and any roses that look like they're about done, I'm just trimming those. And for the most part, I always follow just the 5 leaflet rule, unless it starts to get really long and leggy, and then I'll do a major trim back. And they always grow back. Roses, I feel like no matter how much you trim them, they always grow nice and healthy as long as you have full sun, deep waterings, help it with the fertilizer. And I think that is it for this rose. And I also wanted to mention something I forgot with fertilizing. I do fertilize my roses every couple months, like every 3 months, 3 to 4 months, I will do the fertilizer that I showed you. Or sometimes I go ahead and add in some fresh compost. So you'll see this new shoot here will get lots of attention now that the rest of the stem has been removed. Same with this one here. And that's going to really give you a beautiful bushy rose. And I'll show you one of my roses that's a couple years old that has done really well from this type of trimming. And if you like the leggy look, go ahead and just trim the flower off, but I definitely think they grow better. So you'll see this is one of my favorite tea roses that I have, and it has this long stem with a beautiful heavy flower on the end. When this flower dies, I probably will go back and cut it to where you see my hand, just to bring it back and keep the rose more together and compact. But you'll see this rose is so healthy. I trim this one all the time. This is also the one I showed you that we fertilized. Any red leaves or stems are new growth. They're very delicate. And you can see every time I trim in an angle so that the water will run off. You see when you trim, a new little bud always pops up. And again, this is a tea rose. This rose you could usually find at your garden centers, Home Depot, Walmart. A lot of places carry them. This is my rose that I've had for a couple years. It is my favorite rose in my garden. It is doing so good. You could see there's so much new growth on it. And this is again from fertilizing about every 3 months, deep waterings, lots of sun, and always pruning any dead leaves and flowers off of it. And I just wanted to show you guys where my roses are in my garden. The earlier part of the video, they were all put together for sake of the video, but I wanted to show you here. Another tip is they do not like to be crowded. Roses are very susceptible to powdery mildew, which is what's on this leaf here. And that can be caused by your roses being in somewhere very stuffy that stays wet. They like to have that wind flow and that air flow to keep their leaves dry. And I always just pinch off any leaves that have that powdery mildew. If there was a lot of powdery mildew or anything on my roses, I always spray them with a neem oil. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was informative. These couple little tips and tricks always keep my roses looking so beautiful. Thank you again so much.